The champagne glass shattered on the hardwood floor, and my heart stopped. Lily, my best friend since we were kids chasing fireflies in Ohio, stood frozen, her eyes wide with something I couldn't name. Fear, maybe, or something deeper. In that crowded Brooklyn loft, surrounded by her bachelorette party chaos, she just whispered something that turned my world upside down. We'd been inseparable for years, two halves of a whole. Emma Carter, that's me, 28, a graphic designer with a knack for sketching my feelings when words failed. Lily Harper, 27, was the dreamer, a poet who taught high school English and saw beauty in every cracked sidewalk. Growing up in a small Ohio town, we'd shared secrets under starlit skies, promising to always have each other's backs. But tonight, in the pulsing heart of New York City, her words hit like a freight train. I don't think I can marry him, Em. Not when I feel this way about you. The loft was a whirlwind of glitter and laughter, a bachelorette party in full swing. Fairy lights draped the exposed brick walls, and a playlist of pop anthems blared. Lily's friends, mostly her fiancé Mark's sisters and her colleagues, danced with abandon, their sequin dresses catching the light. I stood out in my leather jacket and jeans, nursing a whiskey, feeling like an outsider in this celebration of a future I couldn't picture for her. Mark was a good guy, a lawyer with a steady smile, but something about their engagement always felt off. I'd ignored it, chalking it up to my own unresolved feelings. Lily's confession hung in the air like smoke. I grabbed her wrist, pulling her toward the balcony, away from the noise. The city hummed below us, a symphony of honks and distant sirens. Her auburn curls caught the breeze, and her green eyes shimmered with tears. "What are you saying?" I whispered, my voice rough. "You're getting married in 2 weeks." "I know," she said, her voice breaking, "but I've been lying to myself, to everyone. I thought I could do this, be the perfect fiancé, but every time I'm with you, I feel alive, like I'm finally me." My pulse raced. I'd loved Lily for years, buried it deep under friendship, convinced she'd never feel the same. Growing up, we'd faced our town's whispers. Two girls, too close, too tactile. I came out at 19, embracing my identity as a lesbian despite the side eyes. Lily never labeled herself, always dating guys, always the golden girl. Yet here she was, unraveling everything. "Lily, you can't just—" I started, but she stepped closer, her hand grazing my cheek. My breath hitched. The world narrowed to her touch, her warmth. Then she kissed me, soft, desperate, like she'd been holding it back forever. My mind screamed to pull away. This was wrong. She was engaged, but my heart drowned it out. I kissed her back, tasting salt from her tears, feeling the truth in every second. The balcony door swung open. "Lily, where's the bride-to-be?" Mark's sister, Claire, slurred, oblivious. We sprang apart, my face burning. Lily's eyes darted between me and Claire, panic setting in. I'll be right there," she stammered, smoothing her dress. She looked at me, a silent plea, then disappeared into the party. I leaned against the railing, the city blurring below. My best friend had just kissed me, confessed she might love me, and now she was back inside, playing the perfect fiancé. What the hell was I supposed to do with that? My phone buzzed. A text from Lily. "Meet me tomorrow. Coffee shop on 7th. Please." The next morning, I sat at our favorite coffee shop in Park Slope, a cozy spot with mismatched mugs and the smell of roasted beans. Lily walked in, her face pale, her engagement ring glinting under the morning light. She slid into the booth, avoiding my eyes. "I'm sorry about last night," she said, voice low. "I was drunk. I didn't mean to. Confuse things." "Confuse things?" I leaned forward, my voice sharp. "You kissed me, Lily. You said you can't marry Mark. That's not confusion. That's a bomb." She flinched, twisting the ring on her finger. "I don't know what I'm doing, Em. I love Mark. He's safe, he's kind. But when I'm with you, it's like I'm seeing color for the first time. I'm terrified." I wanted to shake her, to demand she choose, but the fear in her eyes stopped me. I knew that fear, coming out in a world that didn't always accept you, risking everything for a truth you couldn't ignore. What do you want, Lily? I asked softer now. Not what Mark wants or your family. What do you want? She looked at me, tears welling. I want to be brave. Like you. The words hit hard. Brave. I'd fought for my truth, lost friends, faced my parents' silence. But loving Lily quietly for years? That was a different kind of battle. Then be brave, I said, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. But you have to decide. You can't have both. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Give me time, Em. Please. I agreed, but as she left, I wondered if time would only make this harder. The city buzzed around me, indifferent to the storm in my heart. Lily was engaged, but she'd kissed me. She was my best friend, but maybe she was more, and I had no idea how we'd survive this. The days after Lily's confession felt like walking a tightrope. Every text, every glance carried weight, and I was terrified of falling. New York's summer heat pressed against me as I tried to focus on my freelance design work, but Lily's words, "I feel this way about you," looped in my mind. We met again 3 days later at a quiet bookstore in the West Village, a place we'd spent hours in as teens, flipping through novels and dreaming of bigger lives. Lily looked different now, her usual brightness dimmed, her hands fidgeting with a poetry anthology. I told Mark I need space, she said, barely above a whisper. He's confused, but he agreed to give me a week. My heart leapt, then sank. A week wasn't enough to unravel a life. What does that mean, Lily? Space to think or space to be with me? She bit her lip, her eyes searching mine. I don't know yet. I've spent my whole life doing what's expected, good grades, good job, good fiancé. But you make me question everything. I wanted to pull her close, to tell her she didn't have to choose the safe path. But I saw the weight of her world, her family's expectations, her fear of judgment. You don't have to decide today, I said, though it killed me. But you can't keep running from this. She nodded, reaching for my hand under the table. Her touch sent sparks up my arm, but I pulled back. Not here, I said, glancing around. The bookstore was quiet, but eyes were everywhere in this city. She looked hurt, but I couldn't risk it. Not yet. That night I couldn't sleep. I sketched Lily in my notebook, her face caught between joy and fear, her curls spilling over the page. I'd always loved her, but admitting it felt like betraying our friendship. What if she chose Mark? What if she chose me, then regretted it? My phone lit up with a text. Can I see you tomorrow? My place. Mark's out of town. Lily's apartment in Williamsburg was a cozy mess of books and plants, a stark contrast to Mark's sterile condo. She opened the door in a loose sweater, her hair tied up, and for a moment, I forgot how complicated this was. We sat on her couch, a bottle of wine between us, and talked like old times. Movies, memories, the fireflies we chased as kids. But the air was thick with unspoken truths. I wrote something, she said, pulling out a notebook. Her voice trembled as she read a poem, words of longing and fear, of a heart caught between worlds. It was about me. I felt it in every line, every pause. When she finished, tears streaked her face. I don't know how to do this, Em, but I know I don't want to lose you. I moved closer, my hand finding hers. You won't lose me, I said, my voice raw. But you have to choose what makes you whole. She leaned in, her forehead against mine. What if that's you? This time I didn't pull away. Our lips met, slow and certain, like a promise we hadn't dared make. The world fell away, Mark, the wedding, the expectations. It was just us, two women finding each other in the chaos. But as we pulled apart, reality crashed back. Her ring sat on the coffee table, a silent reminder. I need to tell him, she said, her voice resolute. But I'm scared, Em. What if I hurt him? What if my family cuts me off? I wanted to say it would be okay, but I knew the cost of living your truth. You're stronger than you think, I said, and I'll be here whatever happens. The next day, Lily called me, her voice shaking. Mark's back early. He wants to talk tonight. I'm going to tell him everything. My stomach twisted. This was it, the moment that could change everything. I spent the day in my studio, painting furiously, trying to quiet the fear that she'd back out. That night, she texted, "It's done." I told him, "Can you come over?" I raced to her apartment, my heart pounding. When she opened the door, her eyes were red, but there was a lightness to her, like a weight had lifted. "He was hurt," she said, letting me in. "But he listened." I told him I can't marry him because I'm in love with someone else. "With you." I froze, the words sinking in. She'd chosen me. But as we stood there, her hand in mine, I knew this was only the beginning. Breaking an engagement was one thing. Facing the world as two women in love was another. And I couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest part was still to come. Lily's apartment felt like a sanctuary and a battlefield. Her words, "I'm in love with you," echoed in my mind, but the weight of what came next pressed down hard. We sat on her couch, her hand trembling in mine, as she recounted her talk with Mark. "He didn't yell," she said, staring at the floor. "He just looked broken. Said he suspected something was off but didn't expect this." She laughed, a bitter sound. "He asked if it was his fault. I didn't know how to tell him it's not about him. It's about me finally being honest." I squeezed her hand. "You did the right thing. It hurts, but it's real." She looked at me, her green eyes searching. "Is it, Em? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm throwing away a good life for something I don't even understand?" Her doubt stung, but I got it. Coming out wasn't just a moment. It was a reckoning. I'd faced it years ago, losing friends, dodging my mom's disappointed sighs. Lily was stepping into that fire now. "You're not wrong for wanting to be you," I said. "But it's okay to be scared. I'm here." She nodded, leaning into me. For a moment, we were just Emma and Lily. Not the chaos of her broken engagement or the world waiting to judge us. But the world didn't wait long. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. Texts from her mom, her sister, Mark's family. Word was spreading. By morning, the news had reached her parents in Ohio. Lily's mom called, her voice sharp through the speaker. "You're throwing your life away, Lily. Mark was perfect. What's this nonsense about Emma?" I winced, the word nonsense cutting deep. Lily's face crumpled, but she held firm. "Mom, I love her. I'm sorry if that's hard, but it's true." The call ended with a cold silence. Lily curled into me, sobbing. "They'll hate me," she whispered. "They'll never understand." "They might not," I said, stroking her hair. "But you don't need their permission to live your truth." The next week was a blur. Lily moved out of Mark's condo, crashing at my small apartment in Bed-Stuy. My place was a shoebox. Paint-splattered walls, stacks of sketchbooks, but it became our haven. We cooked pasta, laughed over old photos, and fell asleep tangled together, her warmth anchoring me. But outside, the world was less kind. Her colleagues whispered at school, and Mark's sister Claire posted a vague, venomous status online. Some people don't deserve trust. Lily tried to stay strong, but I saw the cracks. One night, she broke down, clutching a letter from her dad. "He says I'm confused, that I need to fix this before it's too late." She looked at me, voice small. "What if he's right, Em? What if I'm not?" "This?" I knelt in front of her, taking her face in my hands. "You're not confused. You're scared, and that's okay. But I see you, Lily, the real you, and she's beautiful." She kissed me then, fierce and desperate, like she was proving something to herself. I held her tight, feeling the weight of her courage, her fear, our future. But the next day, trouble came knocking, literally. Mark showed up at my door, his face haggard, his eyes pleading. "I just need to talk to her," he said, glancing past me to where Lily stood frozen in the kitchen. "Please, Emma. I deserve that much." I looked at Lily, her expression torn. She nodded, and I stepped aside, my heart in my throat. They sat at my tiny table, and I hovered by the door, feeling like an intruder in my own home. Mark's voice was low, measured. "I still love you, Lily. I don't understand this, but I'd fight for us. For you. Lily's hands twisted together. I love you too, Mark, but not the way I thought. Not the way I love her. Her eyes flicked to me, and my chest tightened. She was choosing me again in front of him. Mark's jaw clenched, but he nodded. I hope you're happy, he said, standing. But it's gonna hurt for a long time. He left without another word, the door clicking shut like a chapter closing. Lily sank into a chair, exhausted. I feel like I'm breaking everyone's hearts, she said. Not mine, I replied, sitting beside her. You're saving mine. But as we held each other, I couldn't ignore the storm brewing. Her family's rejection, the whispers at her job, the weight of her choice. It was all closing in. And when her sister texted, demanding she come to her senses and meet the family in Ohio, I knew the real test was coming. Lily looked at me, her eyes resolute but terrified. Will you come with me? She asked. I nodded, my heart pounding. Always. The drive to Ohio felt like a journey to another world. New York's skyscrapers faded into endless highways, then rolling fields under a gray October sky. Lily gripped the steering wheel of her beat-up Honda, her knuckles white. I sat beside her, sketching aimlessly in my notebook, trying to ease the tension. You okay? I asked, glancing at her. No, she said, her voice tight. But I need to do this. Her family's house in suburban Columbus was a picture of middle America. Red brick, neat lawn, a flagpole out front. Inside, it was a time capsule. Floral curtains, photos of Lily in pigtails, none of me. Her parents, Diane and Tom, greeted us stiffly. Her sister, Rachel, 25, stood with arms crossed, her eyes cold. The air felt thick with judgment. Dinner was torture. Diane served meatloaf, her smile forced. Tom barely spoke, his gaze fixed on his plate. Rachel broke the silence, her voice sharp. So, Lily, when are you going back to Mark? He's a catch. You're not thinking straight. Lily's fork clattered. I'm not going back, she said, her voice steady but thin. I'm with Emma now. I love her. The room froze. Diane's face paled, and Tom's jaw tightened. This isn't you, he said, finally looking up. You're confused. You've always been impressionable. I bristled, but Lily's hand found mine under the table. I'm not confused, she said. I've spent my life trying to please you. But this is who I am. I'm a lesbian, and I love Emma. Diane gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Don't say that word in this house, she snapped. You're throwing away everything for a phase. It's not a phase. I cut in, unable to stay quiet. She's not broken, Diane. She's brave enough to be herself, and you should be proud. Tom stood, his chair scraping. You don't get to lecture us, Emma. You've always been a bad influence. Lily stood too, tears streaming. Emma's the only one who's ever seen me for me. If you can't accept that, I don't know if I can be here. She stormed out, and I followed, my heart racing. Outside, under the porch light, she collapsed into my arms, sobbing. I thought they'd at least try to understand, she whispered. They might, I said, though I wasn't sure. Give them time. You've given them the truth. That's enough for now. We stayed at a nearby motel, the neon sign buzzing outside. In the dim room, Lily curled into me, her breath steadying. I feel like I'm losing everything, she said. Not everything, I replied, kissing her forehead. You've got me. The next morning, Rachel texted, asking to meet at a diner. Against my better judgment, we went. Rachel sat across from us, her face softer but guarded. I don't get it, she said. But I saw how you looked at her last night, Lily. Like you'd fight the world for her. I've never seen you like that with Mark. Lily's eyes widened. Does that mean you're okay with this? Rachel sighed. I'm trying. I don't want to lose you. Just give Mom and Dad time. They're stuck in their ways. It wasn't acceptance, but it was a start. We drove back to New York, the weight of Ohio lifting with every mile. Lily seemed lighter, her hand resting on mine as she drove. But back in the city, reality waited. Her school had called. Parents were complaining about her lifestyle, threatening to pull their kids. Her principal, a kind but spineless man, hinted she might need to tone it down. Tone it down. I fumed, pacing our apartment. What? Hide who you are. I can't lose my job, Em, she said, her voice small. It's all I've got left. You've got me? I said, pulling her close. And you're not hiding. We'll fight this. That night, we made a plan. I'd help her draft a statement for the school board, emphasizing her skills as a teacher, not her personal life. We stayed up late, her head on my shoulder, crafting words that felt like armor. But as we worked, a new text came from Mark. I'm moving to Chicago. I need a fresh start. I wish you both the best. Lily stared at the message, tears falling. He's really gone, she said. It's real now. It's been real, I said, wiping her tears. And we're in this together. But as we fell asleep, her phone lit up again. An email from the school board, scheduling a meeting. The subject line read, Concerns regarding faculty conduct. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just about us anymore, it was about fighting for our place in the world. The school board meeting loomed like a storm cloud. Lily spent days preparing, her anxiety palpable as she rehearsed her statement in our cramped apartment. I watched her pace, her auburn curls bouncing with each step, and felt helpless. You're going to kill it, I said, handing her a coffee. You're the best teacher they've got. She gave a weak smile. What if they don't care? What if they just see us? Then they're idiots, I said, pulling her into a hug. But we'll make them listen. The meeting was held in a sterile conference room at the high school, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The board, 5 middle-aged men and women, sat stone-faced as Lily stood, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. I've taught here for 4 years, she began. My students' test scores are up 15%. I've mentored kids through crises. My personal life doesn't change that. A parent in the audience, a woman with a tight bun, stood up. Miss Harper, we're concerned about the example you're setting. This relationship isn't appropriate for a teacher. Lily's face flushed, but she held her ground. My relationship has no bearing on my ability to teach. I'm the same educator I've always been. I sat in the back, my fists clenched, proud but terrified. The board president, a balding man named Mr. Kessler, leaned forward. We'll review the matter and respond by next week. Thank you, Miss Harper. Back home, Lily collapsed onto the couch. I felt like a criminal, she said, her voice hollow. All because I love you. I knelt beside her, taking her hands. You stood up for yourself. That's everything. The weight was agony. We tried to distract ourselves, walks in Prospect Park, late-night pizza, sketching together on my tiny balcony. Lily started writing poetry again, her words raw and beautiful, capturing the ache of this moment. One night, she read me a line. In your eyes, I find my truth, though the world demands I hide. I kissed her, feeling her strength, her vulnerability, our love. The board's email came on a rainy Tuesday. Lily's hands shook as she opened it. They're keeping me, she said, tears falling. But I'm on probation. Any disruptions, and I'm out. Probation, I snapped. That's bullshit. You're their best teacher. It's better than fired, she said, but her voice was heavy. I just have to be careful. Careful. The word grated. It meant hiding. Our hands not touching in public, her ringless finger a silent statement. But we adapted. We found quiet moments. Cooking dinner, dancing to jazz in our living room, stealing kisses in empty subway cars. Lily's confidence grew, her smile brighter each day. But the world wasn't done testing us. A week later, I got a call from my biggest client, a Manhattan ad agency. They'd heard about my situation through the grapevine. Small world, big mouths. We're reevaluating our contractors, the manager said, his tone clipped. We'll be in touch. I hung up, my stomach churning. They're dropping me? I told Lily, slumping onto the couch. Because of us. She sat beside me, her hand on my knee. I'm so sorry, Em. This is my fault. No, I said, fierce. This is their fault. They don't get to punish us for being happy. We decided to fight back. I reached out to a local LGBTQ plus advocacy group, who connected me with a lawyer willing to take my case pro bono. Lily rallied her students, who started a petition defending her as a teacher. Their support was a lifeline. Kids who saw her as more than a scandal, who saw her heart. One evening, we attended a community event at a queer bookstore in Brooklyn. The room was packed with people like us. Couples, friends, activists, sharing stories of resilience. Lily spoke, her voice clear and strong, about finding herself through love. I watched her, my chest swelling with pride. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. But as we left, hand in hand, a man shouted from across the street, "You're disgusting." The word hit like a slap, but Lily squeezed my hand tighter. "Ignore him," she said, her voice steady. "He doesn't get to define us." We walked home, the city alive around us, and I realized something. We were building a life, not just surviving one. But the next morning, a letter arrived from Lily's parents. It was short, formal, and brutal. "We need space. Please don't contact us." Lily stared at the letter, her face blank. "They're done with me," she said, her voice barely audible. I pulled her close, my heart breaking for her. "You're enough," I whispered. "We're enough." Lily's parents' letter left a wound that didn't bleed but ached constantly. She carried it quietly, her smile a little dimmer, her poetry sharper with pain. I wanted to fix it, to storm back to Ohio and make them see her, but some battles weren't mine to fight. Instead, I held her closer, our tiny apartment a fortress against the world. Work became our battleground. My lawyer was building a case against the ad agency, citing discrimination, but it was slow going. Lily's probation at school meant constant scrutiny. Every lesson plan, every interaction with students, watched like a hawk. Yet her kids were her anchor. One day, a shy sophomore named Mia slipped her a note. "You're my favorite teacher. Thank you for being you." Lily cried reading it, and I framed it above our couch. We found refuge in Brooklyn's queer community. A local artist collective invited me to show my work at a gallery event, themed around identity. I poured myself into a series of paintings, bold, vibrant portraits of Lily, capturing her strength, her vulnerability, her truth. The night of the show, she stood beside me, radiant in an emerald dress, her hand in mine. "These are incredible, Em," she whispered, her eyes tracing a canvas of her laughing under city lights. The gallery buzzed with people, artists, activists, friends we'd made. A woman named Sarah, a curator, pulled me aside. "Your work's raw, honest. I'd love to feature you in our next show." It was a lifeline, a chance to rebuild after the agency's rejection. I glanced at Lily, her smile wide, and felt hope flicker. But hope was fragile. That night, we got a call from Rachel. "Mom's sick," she said, her voice tight. "Breast cancer. She's starting treatment, but she's asking for you, Lily." Lily's face went pale. "She wrote me off," she said after hanging up. "Why now?" "Maybe she's scared," I said, touching her arm. "Maybe she's ready to listen." We debated for days. Lily was torn, hurt by her parents' rejection but tethered to them by love. Finally, she decided to go. "I need closure," she said. "Will you come?" I nodded, though the thought of facing her family again made my stomach twist. We flew to Ohio, the plane ride silent, her hand clutching mine. At the hospital, Diane looked frail, her eyes tired but sharp. Tom sat beside her, his face unreadable. Rachel hugged Lily, a small olive branch. "Lily," Diane said, her voice weak, "I didn't want it to be like this." Lily sat, her hands clasped. "Then why did you shut me out? I'm still your daughter." Diane's eyes filled with tears. "I was scared. For you, for us. I don't understand this choice." "It's not a choice," Lily said, her voice firm but kind. "It's who I am. I love Emma, and I'm happy." Can't that be enough? Tom shifted, his voice gruff. We raised you to be different, but you're still ours. We're trying, Lily. It wasn't perfect, but it was a crack in the wall. Lily cried as we left, a mix of relief and grief. They didn't say they accept us, she said in the car. But they didn't say they never will. Back in New York, we leaned on each other. Lily's teaching stabilized. Her students' petition had swayed the board, and her probation was lifted. My art career gained traction. Sarah's gallery show led to commissions. We started dreaming bigger, a trip to Provincetown, a shared studio space. But the city's pulse kept us grounded. Its chaos a reminder of how far we'd come. One night, we walked along the Hudson, the water reflecting the city's glow. Lily stopped, pulling me close. I used to think love was supposed to be easy, she said. But loving you, it's hard, and it's worth it. I kissed her, the world fading to just us. We're worth it, I said. But as winter crept in, a new challenge emerged. My lawyer called, the agency was settling, offering a payout but no apology. It was a win, but it felt hollow. And Lily got an email from a conservative parent group, threatening a protest at her school. They're not done with us, she said, her voice weary. I looked at her, my heart fierce. Then we keep fighting. Together. The parent group's protest came faster than we expected. By mid-November, flyers circulated online, calling for Lily's removal, branding her a dangerous influence. The school board, spineless under pressure, scheduled another hearing. Lily was calm on the surface, but I saw the fear in her eyes as she packed her bag for the meeting. We've got this, I said, kissing her forehead. You're not alone. The hearing was a circus. Parents packed the auditorium, some supportive, others clutching signs with hateful slogans. Lily stood at the podium, her voice clear. I teach poetry, history, compassion. My personal life doesn't change that. My students deserve a teacher who's honest about who she is. A girl in the crowd, Mia, the one who'd written the note, stood up. Miss Harper's the only teacher who gets me. She stays late to help us, listens when we're struggling. You can't fire her for being herself. Other students joined in, their voices a chorus of defiance. I watched, my heart swelling, as Lily's eyes shone with gratitude. The board deliberated for hours, finally ruling in her favor. No dismissal, no probation. The room erupted in cheers, but outside, the protesters lingered, their shouts a reminder of the fight ahead. Back home, Lily was quiet. I won, but it doesn't feel like winning, she said, curling into me. They'll keep coming for us. Then we keep standing up, I replied, my voice fierce. You're worth it. We're worth it. My art career was picking up, with 2 galleries now showing my work. I painted late into the night, capturing our story. Lily's courage, our love, the city's pulse. One piece, a portrait of us under the Brooklyn Bridge, caught the eye of a collector. The sale was enough to cover rent for months, easing the sting of the agency's betrayal. Lily's parents reached out again, this time with a tentative olive branch. Diane sent a letter, her handwriting shaky. I'm trying to understand. Come for Christmas. Lily stared at the letter, torn. I want to believe they're changing, she said, but I'm scared they'll hurt me again. We decided to go, but on our terms. We arrived in Ohio on Christmas Eve, the house glowing with lights. Diane hugged Lily, her embrace cautious but warm. Tom was quieter, but he shook my hand, his grip firm. Rachel cooked dinner, her chatter filling the silence. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward pauses, questions they didn't ask. But it was progress. On Christmas morning, Diane gave Lily a photo album, filled with pictures of us as kids. You two were always special, she said, her voice soft. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. Lily cried, hugging her mom. I watched, my throat tight, realizing family could bend, even if it took time. Back in New York, we settled into a new rhythm. Lily's teaching thrived, her students fiercer in their support. My art was gaining buzz, with a solo show planned for spring. We started talking about the future, a home together, maybe a dog. But the world wasn't done with us. One night, at a queer bar in the East Village, a drunk guy cornered us, his words slurred and cruel. "You don't belong here," he spat, shoving Lily. I stepped between them, my fists clenched, but Lily grabbed my arm. "He's not worth it," she said, pulling me away. Outside, under the neon glow, she kissed me, fierce and defiant. "They can't take this from us," she said. "Not anymore." I nodded, my heart full. We were stronger than the hate, the doubt, the fear. But as we walked home, a new email pinged on Lily's phone. A job offer from a progressive school in San Francisco, promising a fresh start. She looked at me, her eyes bright with possibility. "What do you think?" she asked. I took her hand, the city humming around us. "Let's talk about it." The San Francisco job offer sat between us like a third presence. Over coffee in our favorite Park Slope cafe, Lily traced the rim of her mug, her eyes distant. "It's a chance to start over," she said. "No protests, no probation. Just us." I nodded, but my chest tightened. New York was our home. Its chaos, its grit, the way it shaped us. My art career was finally taking off here, with the solo show looming. "What about everything we've built?" I asked. "Your kids, my galleries?" She sighed, her hand finding mine. "I know, but I'm tired, Em. Tired of fighting just to exist." I got it. The protests, the whispers, the constant need to prove ourselves. It was exhausting, but leaving felt like running. "Let's think it through," I said. "We don't have to decide today." We spent the next week weighing options. Lily Skyped with the San Francisco principal, a warm woman who spoke of inclusivity and support. I met with Sarah, the curator, who offered to connect me with West Coast galleries. The idea of a fresh start was tempting, but New York was in our blood. One night, we walked through Dumbo, the Brooklyn Bridge glowing above us. Lily stopped, her breath visible in the cold. "I love this city," she said, "but I love you more. Wherever we go, as long as it's together, I'm home." I kissed her, the city's pulse syncing with ours. "Then let's stay," I said. "We fought too hard to leave." She smiled, her eyes bright. "Okay, we stay." The decision grounded us. Lily turned down the job, choosing her students and our life here. I dove into preparing for my show, painting late into the night. Lily curled up nearby with her poetry. We were building something unbreakable piece by piece. But life had a way of testing us. In February, Rachel called. Diane's cancer was back, more aggressive. Lily's face crumpled as she hung up. "I need to see her," she said, "before it's too late." We flew to Ohio again, the hospital now familiar. Diane was weaker, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm proud of you," she told Lily, her hand trembling in hers. "I was wrong to push you away." Lily sobbed, holding her mom. Tom watched, his eyes wet, and for the first time he hugged me. "Thank you," he said, "for loving her." Back in New York, the loss loomed, but Lily was stronger. She channeled her grief into her teaching, her poetry, her love for me. My solo show opened in March, a packed gallery buzzing with energy. My paintings, our story in color and light, drew gasps and whispers. Lily stood beside me, radiant, her hand in mine. A critic from a local paper approached. "Your work's powerful," she said. "It's love, but it's also resistance. Keep going." I looked at Lily, her smile my anchor. "We will," I said. But the next morning, a new email arrived. A cease and desist from the ad agency, claiming I'd violated a non-compete clause by working with galleries. My lawyer called it a stretch, but it meant another fight. Lily read the email, her jaw set. "They're scared of you," she said. "Of us." We met with the lawyer, who was confident we'd win. But the stress was relentless. One night, exhausted, we sat on our balcony, the city sprawling below. "Sometimes I wonder if it'll ever be easy," Lily said, her head on my shoulder. "It won't," I admitted, "but it's ours, and I wouldn't trade it." She kissed me, soft and sure. "Me neither." As spring bloomed, we planned a trip. Just us. a cabin in the Catskills, a chance to breathe. But before we could go, Lily got a call from her principal. A new parent group was forming, this time to support her, to push for inclusivity in the school. "They want me to lead it," she said, her eyes wide. I grinned. "You're a force, Lily Harper." She laughed, pulling me close. "We're a force." The Catskills trip was our escape. The cabin smelled of pine, its windows framing rolling hills. Lily and I spent days hiking, cooking over a fire, and laughing like we were kids again. One night, under a blanket of stars, she read me a new poem, her voice weaving love and resilience. "You're my muse," she said, kissing me softly. I sketched her by the firelight, her curls wild, her eyes bright. "You're mine," I replied, my heart full. For the first time, the world felt distant. No protests, no lawyers, just us. Back in New York, reality waited. The parent group Lily was leading gained traction, with students and teachers joining to advocate for inclusivity. At their first meeting, Mia, now a junior, presented a plan for a queer student alliance. Lily beamed, her pride infectious. "This is why I teach," she told me later. "To see them fight for themselves." My legal battle with the ad agency dragged on, but my lawyer was relentless, uncovering evidence of their discriminatory practices. A settlement was on the horizon, bigger than before, with a public apology. "You're shaking things up," Lily said, reading the latest update. "I'm so proud." Her words fueled me. I poured that energy into my art, preparing for a second gallery show. This one was bolder. Paintings of queer joy, defiance, love in the face of hate. Lily helped me hang the pieces, her feedback sharp and honest. "This one," she said, pointing to a canvas of two women dancing in the rain. "It's us." The show was a hit. Collectors bid, critics raved, and Sarah hinted at a national tour. But the real win was Lily's hand in mine, her smile brighter than the gallery lights. "We're unstoppable," she whispered, but life loved its curveballs. In April, Diane's health took a sharp turn. Lily flew to Ohio alone this time, her choice to face her family without me as a buffer. She called me every night, her voice heavy but hopeful. "Mom's talking more," she said, "about us, about love. She's trying." When she returned, she carried a new lightness. "Mom gave me her blessing," she said, tears falling. "She said she sees how happy you make me." I held her, my throat tight. "We're building a family," I said, "not just with them, but with everyone who loves us." That summer, we moved into a bigger apartment in Brooklyn, a place with enough room for my easels and her books. We painted the walls a soft blue, hung our photos, made it ours. Friends came over, queer artists, Lily's students, even Rachel, who visited and apologized for her early judgment. "You two are the real deal," she said, raising a glass. But the agency's settlement came with a catch. They demanded I sign a gag order, silencing me about their practices. I refused, backed by my lawyer and Lily's fierce support. "You're not just fighting for you," she said. "You're fighting for everyone they've hurt." The case went public, sparking debate online. Support poured in, hashtags, petitions, even a feature in a queer magazine. But so did the hate, anonymous emails, comments calling us unnatural. Lily read one aloud, then deleted it. "They're loud," she said, "but we're louder." One night, we attended a pride event in Manhattan, the streets alive with color and music. We danced, laughed, kissed under a rainbow flag. A photographer snapped us, the image going viral. Two women, defiant and in love. "That's our legacy," Lily said, showing me the photo. As summer faded, we planned our future. A trip to Europe, maybe a wedding of our own someday. But for now, we had this. A life carved from courage, a love that refused to break. And as we stood on our balcony, the city glittering below, I knew we'd face whatever came next. Fall painted New York in gold and crimson, and our life felt like it was finally ours. The agency settled, no gag order, with a public apology and a payout that let me fund a community art program for queer youth. Lily's parent group grew, transforming her school into a beacon of inclusivity. We were no longer just surviving, we were thriving. One crisp October evening, we walked through Central Park, leaves crunching underfoot. Lily stopped by the Bethesda fountain, her eyes sparkling. "I have something for you," she said, pulling a small box from her pocket. Inside was a simple silver ring, engraved with a firefly, our childhood symbol. "Emma Carter," she said, her voice steady. "You're my best friend, my love, my home. Marry me?" My breath caught. I dreamed of this, but the reality was overwhelming. "Yes?" I whispered, tears falling as she slid the ring onto my finger. We kissed, the fountain's spray catching the light, strangers clapping around us. Planning a wedding wasn't easy. We wanted it small, intimate, in a Brooklyn garden next spring. Rachel offered to help, her enthusiasm a bridge to her family. Diane, now in remission, called to congratulate us, her voice warm. "I want to be there," she said. Tom was quieter, but he promised to come. It was enough. The hate still lingered, online trolls, a snide comment at a coffee shop, but we'd learned to let it roll off. Our community held us up. Mia and her queer alliance, Sarah and the art crew, friends who'd become family. My art program launched, with kids painting their truths, their joy lighting up the studio. Lily's poetry was published in a small anthology, her words reaching hearts beyond our circle. At a reading, she dedicated a poem to me, her voice weaving our story. Fireflies, city lights, a love that fought to be. The crowd cheered, and I felt like we'd won something bigger than ourselves. Our wedding day came in May, the garden blooming with lilacs. Lily wore a flowing dress, her curls loose. I wore a tailored suit, my heart pounding. Rachel stood as Lily's maid of honor, Diane and Tom in the front row, their smiles tentative but real. We vowed to love, to fight, to build a life together no matter what. As we danced under string lights, I whispered, "We made it." She laughed, her arms around me. "We're just getting started." Years later, we'd look back on that bachelorette party. The shattered glass, the kiss that changed everything. As the spark that lit our life. We faced rejection, hate, and fear. But we also found joy, community, and a love that grew stronger with every battle. New York was our home, but our love was our world. And as we stood on our balcony, years into our marriage, watching the city glow, Lily took my hand. "You're still my best friend," she said. I kissed her, the firefly ring glinting. "And you're my everything." Our story wasn't just about us. It was a testament to resilience, to choosing truth over fear, to building a life where love wins. And in every brushstroke, every poem, every moment we shared, we carried that truth forward, lighting the way for others.